My name is Vic Palmel, and I have been a patient of Dr. Roberts for a few years now, I believe 3 or 4. And my wife also, because both of us had challenges with our back especially, and my wife with her hip. And in my case, it resulted, most of it, except I've had accidents all my life of different nature with different sports I played and things I'd done. But in this case, I was thrown from a horse May 7th of 2000. And I'd been riding a long time, but as I was mounting, the horse reared up. It was a horse I was unfamiliar with, and he threw me back into the granite. And I basically puddle drove myself into the granite, and I ended up with a spider fracture over my right orbit, a basal skull fracture, which cut the artery on the right branch of my brain. And I broke my back in 2 places, and my shoulder on my right side and my wrist. So other than that, it was a good day. And from that, they medevaced me down to the valley. And fortunately for me, a neurosurgeon was just getting out of his first surgeries of the morning, and he looked at my x-rays. I had an intracranial bleed, and he opened me up, and about 8 hours later, I bought him a new Porsche, so he was very happy. And he told my family that night that I'd have a 20% chance of living through the night. And they had not noted my other challenges, only dealt with my head. So I was in a coma for quite some time. I woke up about 3 weeks later, and I was explained what had happened, and my cognitive function was about 0. I didn't even know who my 10-year-old daughter was when she came to visit, and she was quite upset about that. And I knew I'd messed up because of how she said it and started crying. So it was a challenge for recovery, and I had to start over. I was 100% paralyzed on my left side. I couldn't even raise my left-hand fingers off the bed at that time, and I had to basically learn everything over again. So I started some extensive physical therapy, and once I came back to Prescott, my doctor up here said, "What is your chief complaint?" And I said, "My back." So I x-rayed my back and other x-rays and found all the other breaks, which had not been noted because I had not really been moving that much, but I had complained about them, but they found them. And after that, I got going pretty well. But then about a year into my recovery, a speech therapist that I'd been assigned at the VA, she entailed the help of a ophthalmologist who came twice a week to the VA and wanted to examine people with TBIs and brain injuries like myself. And in that instance, when he examined me, he said, "Well, you know, you're blind in your left eye and you can't see." And I didn't know that. It had a gaze as I got recovered, but it came back and I thought I could see. But he said, "You're not driving, are you?" And I said, "Well, yeah." He goes, "Man, you have no depth perception." So he gave me a year of therapy 3 times a week on correcting my vision, and that was a big part of my recovery. And about that time, I went to the gun show in Prescott, and Dr. Robert was a new doctor of the area. He'd just gotten out of college, and he had a booth next to mine. I was working on a political booth, and he had a booth next to mine, and gave me a little exam and buttoned me up for examination. So I thought, well, he's got some new techniques. Perhaps it'll be a good thing. I'd seen a chiropractor briefly over my recovery, but he was a crunch and run type of chiropractor, not really a lot of efficacy. And Dr. Robert examined me and told me what my challenges were with his evaluations, which were very extensive, along with his wife. And at that time, he laid out a method of treatment for us. Well, in the ensuing years, Dr. Robert has corrected all the challenges that I had. I couldn't rotate my neck more than about 20 degrees. My back, where I had broken it, was in constant pain, and I couldn't sleep at night hardly. It was really challenging, and when I get up in the morning, it was like starting over with a rickety old man breaking all his joints to get out of bed. Well, that no longer is a challenge for myself nor my wife. She's fully recovered, and I consider myself recovered on the bone aspect of my challenges. My brain still has a little bit of cognitive challenge, but one of the interesting things is one morning about 2.5 years ago, I was driving in from Chino Valley, and I looked on the ridge above Prescott, and I noticed how beautiful the houses were and all the colors. And I didn't really think about it until the next day. I'm watching the TV, and I asked my wife if she'd adjusted the color. I don't think she knows how to do it, but it was so brilliant. And then I started to look around and realized that apparently in my vision that had occurred in my vision challenges with my blindness in the left eye, etc., had it come back to rectify, along with glasses that I had that helped. I was able to see colors that I had not seen, or I didn't even realize they were missing, as I didn't realize my depth perception was gone. It was quite amazing, and I shared that with Dr. Robert, and he thought that was interesting. That doesn't happen apparently very often, but Dr. Robert and his wife are loving people and good Christian folks, and they care about their patients. And I highly recommend, if you're thinking about a chiropractic event, to come in, at least be examined, have him tell you about what he thinks he can do. And each time you see him, he evaluates you from scratch again with testing which nerves are firing hot, which ones are calm, and he starts from that standpoint and then only adjusts what you need adjusting. He doesn't just go in haphazardly. He studies you again, and about every 6 months he evaluates you also and gives you an update of your progress. And I just think it's a blessing to have him in the community, and they're great folks. And so when you have time to come in and take a visit, say hello, and I highly recommend Cornerstone Chiropractic to you and your family for your blessing of wellness.